Welcome to building a website. In this video I will demonstrate how to build a website for CIT90. I'll build it with proper design principles, separating content from format. All my formatting will be in my CSS style sheet named My Styles 01. I'm also going to put this into a folder. I'll do that in a minute after I test these two. But you'll see as we walk through the code here that all our HTML is separated from our CSS style sheets. And they're separated for a good reason. It is sound programming practice to separate our styles, because then we only have to change our styles in one place. I started with a existing page and modified the head to have a title called My Website, and in my body I decided actually on a basic 3-pane layout. I'll have a header, a footer, a navigation pane on the left side of my page, a main page, main panel, and then a right panel. So you can see here I have created the divs. I'll explain the divs in just as we go along. But the div actually divides the page into certain areas. The first div that I'll look at is a div called wrap, and this div extends from here to here. You can see the opening div element and the closing div element. This div I've given ID of wrap, and it will contain other divs. In the old days we used to use tables. Tables become cumbersome and don't allow themselves to be formatted properly with style sheets like we can with divs. So divs are flexible. That's the name of the game. You can change them easily, and they make perfect sense. Even by looking at the IDs of my divs, you can tell what's going on. Oh, this div's ID is wrap. Of course, it can only be one ID per. Should only be one ID per web page. Oh, this must wrap around everything, and certainly I've used indentation here to show that it wraps around these other divs. So they're like little boxes, and inside my div named wrap, I have a div ID named header. What do you suppose that div is? Then I have nav for my nav bar. I have main for my main panel, right panel, and then footer. So all I do is create these divs that I want. I put them inside my wrap div, and then I decide how to format these divs. For formatting, I go to my style sheet, mystyles01.css, and you can see the nomenclature I'm using here. The pound sign here means ID, just like we demonstrated in GA01 video. In front of that I have a div, so any div with the ID of wrap will get these style rules, and they're simply margin left, margin right, auto. This is how this is the technique I use to center everything, and then I give it a background color and width of 90%. You'll be able to see a small white border around my my div, but that's okay. It's just the way I want it. Here's my header. Again, left and right margins are set at auto. The height is defined as a literal 75 pixels with width 100%, and this should center my div. I give it a background color of gray. The nav panel, float left like a good web organizer designer. I am floating everything to be consistent, so I'll use float lefts throughout my style sheet, and my panel div should come out just fine. Height is specified in pixels. My width is my width is specified in a percentage, and this allows me to resize my window and not have particular panels be eclipsed by my bounding box of my window. So I have another ID called main. You can guess what that is. Its width is going to be 60%. Background of blue. Right panel, a width of 25%. Background color yellow. And finally a footer with 100%. The footer should match the header, and it does with width and color. Some other styles that I'll discuss as I go along, or I am going to have it set for an ID for P for paragraph elements. The paragraph elements that I want to specifically style are going to be titles. So I give this ID a title named page title. So again, I should only have one page title per page, but this is the style that I'm applying to the page title. I have a horizontal rule. I'll make that yellow with a class named link spacer, and my href anchors, I'll create a class named link, and regular text with paragraph text I'll format like this. So let's see how my page looks now when I view it in a browser. For design and build purposes, I've put both my style sheet and my XHTML file in the same directory. We'll have to separate these out once I load them onto my server. And I have them both in a folder. Again, I'm on my local machine here at week 04. So all I do is I click index.html, double click to open that up, and I can see what my page looks like. You can see when I resize my page, my elements are being resized with me. I should maintain the center here. Here's an artifact. The second line here of my title actually bounced down, and my anchors over here are taking up 2 lines as well. If I resize this to a full size, that will take care of that. But here you can see my panels. Here's my header panel, here's my navigation panel, this right here is my main panel, and my right panel went over 1. Let's see if I can get that back. There we go. My right panel scoots over once I resize this. I think you should be able to see the panels within this view here. So I can either leave it like that and accept that, or else move this right panel over so that it will look more proper when it is in fact resized. Now that I have my page and my style sheet looking the way I want it to, I will push those pages out to the server. So to do that, just like last time, my subdomain name is dmol.citfcc.com, and I want to FTP to my site. I'll HTTP to look at it, but I need to FTP it up there in the first place. So I'll go to FTP. My username is dmol. My password, for those of you trying to hack into my site, is not password. Yours probably is. If you're trying to listen to the clicks of my keyboard, I'm trying to disguise them. I like to view my FTP session in Windows Explorer, so I click on Page and Open FTP Site in Windows Explorer. I'm challenged once again by my website's security, and I'll enter my password again, and I'll log on. When I see these folders, remember everything in our CAT90 server is in HTTP docs. You don't reference this folder when you view your pages, but this is where you start your pages. I'm going to right now actually create a new folder called CSS, which is where I will put my style sheet. And my index file will go in here. I'm erasing an current index file here, but that's okay. Now, so to upload, I need to open Windows Explorer on my local machine. I navigate to where I just created those two pages. They're in CIT 90 week 04, and here they are. I want to put my styles CSS into my CSS folder. One more thing I have to do. I need to actually change the external reference of this my main page from the current directory or the same directory to the CSS directory. So notice up here in href I need to specify CSS directory, just two S's, CSS directory / Alright, so I'll save that. I can exit from there. Now I can upload my HTML file. Yes. Now to test my file, I will simply go to the root of my domain, so dmol.citfcc.com, and in the root now you can see my there's the yellow panel worked out fine that way, and this is looking okay. I have some links that are wrapping around here, so I will have to adjust the size. Nonetheless, my percentages are working okay now. My CSS needs to be, or my CSS style sheet was in my CSS folder. If you want the source for this page, right click and view source, and you can see exactly the source that I've used. And this will end my demo for uploading a website, uploading an initial CIT 90 website.